Talking to Ian Scobie, who has directed Womad now for 25 years. How does it differ from 25 years ago to what's coming up this weekend?
Well, at the outset it was a festival with 3 stages, and it went for 3 days, and it was every second year. Now it runs for 4 days and there are 8 stages, and it's an annual festival, so it's grown a lot, and principally I suppose that it's grown through the addition of both site performance and installation work, but also discussion forums like Taste the World, like the Planet Talks, that have just enabled us to give audiences a broader and more immersive experience and connection with the artist as well. So when an artist goes to Taste the World and talks about food, usually they will talk about, this is a dish my mother cooked and when I grew up in Jamaica, and so it actually is it enables the audience to make a level of connection that's, you know, more interesting and has more depth to it than just watching an artist perform on stage.
And just, we'll stick with the 25 years ago for the sec. Who headlined then? And can you, for people who haven't been to Womad, what actually is it all about?
Well, the festival began in Adelaide in 1992 as an initiative of the then Adelaide Festival Director, Rob Brookman. He was keen to try and present music and performance outside the formal context of the recital hall or a town hall, or where audiences often don't, where a broader audience don't go because they feel they don't know when to clap, they're not quite sure of the protocols. And so, having done some research, he contacted the Womad organisation, who are based in the UK. Womad was started by Peter Gabriel and a number of colleagues, including Thomas Bruman, in '82, and we approached them and said, would you be interested to come and do Womad Festival in Australia at the Adelaide Festival? And here we are, essentially 25 years later. My role then was working on the Adelaide Festival. I was the administrator and general manager, and then as the festival grew and became more independent, but still within the festival, so then I've been involved with it from then on. But it's grown a huge amount. Yeah.
And the thing is, it has some huge names. I think Peter Gabriel was one of the first ones. I saw Staley Keith.
Yeah, that's right. And in answer to your first question, I mean, the artists that were on the bill in '92 included Yusin Adua. It included the amazing performer Archie Roach, who we're so thrilled to have back. And you know, it was a smaller event, but we certainly had the sense that it was something
not just on the music, but everything around the music, particularly green, particularly health and well-being, a lot around Indigenous knowledges this time. What's behind that, and what do you think are some of the highlights?
Well, part of it has come from the festival's ethos in terms of the Womad organisation. I think Peter Gabriel always had this sense of, you know, the trying to have a sense of the global community and the things that are common to us all. And, you know, it's as relevant to philosophy now as ever, that essentially arts and culture, it brings out a sense of common humanity. You have a connection with someone when they sing, and when they tell their stories, and when they draw you into an imagination. So Womadelaide, of course, has that similar sense. It also had the sense, being in this beautiful park, that we had to have a very light environmental footprint. And so early on in the festival's history, we organised, in fact, and had made recycle bins to recycle rubbish. This was well before anyone had recycle bins in their homes. We used to have volunteers standing at the bins to explain to people what to do. That's now become mainstream, and which is great. So that's sort of, it's not, I suppose some might say it's social campaigning. It was certainly a sense of how can we do this in a better way. The recycle program here now is very sophisticated. I mean, all of the disposable cutlery and crockery and what have you is all compostable. We have an arrangement with our waste management group, who organise through Jeffrey's Garden Soil to have 90% of our waste is composted and returned to the gardens, for example. And so we've spent a lot of time working about how to do things in an environmentally sensitive way. We don't have a zero carbon footprint, but it's getting closer to that, because we have a carbon offset program that we do with Greening Australia. which has been going for about 16 years, I think, and there's now a forest in the south of Adelaide in an area that was very deforested and lots of erosion problems that has been replanted, and all of those trees have been paid for out of our carbon offset. So the festival has, worked quite hard to both do that in a practical sense as an organisation, but also then to bring the public along with it. And that hasn't happened in isolation. I mean, those kind of movements and concerns have been out there in the community as the discussions at the Planet Talks illustrate. Often they're ahead of the politics of the time, and part of the reason we created the Planet Talks was the thought that really the conversations going on in the body politic were pretty toxic, and let's find a neutral space, a forum through the festival where people could have conversations about issues about climate change, about issues about health and well-being, about ways of living that are outside the very negative zero-sum game that goes on in politics these days, and in the end just having people to have a direct connection to be able to make up their own mind, but also hear about examples, to be told of things they can do with their own lives or at home, whether it's with composting, whether it's with reducing carbon, whether it's with Mr. Fix-It here about reusing things rather than the disposable culture that we kind of have moved into. So it's about trying to have a place where there's a forum for those issues that people are concerned about, but there's nowhere in the broader community or in the broader media or in the wider debate where they feel taken seriously, where they feel they can have that conversation.
And in terms of both music and those talks, what will you make sure you don't miss out on at this event? What are you going to try and get to?
Well, I'm definitely going to see the Carabosse installation, which is a piece that's a focus on the migration crisis. And when I first saw that in France about 5 or 6 years ago, the company thought, it's probably not going to have a long life. And sadly, it has a long life, because the issue has not got any better, it's got worse. And I certainly aren't going to miss the Manganya classroom, the group of young boys from Rajasthan. That's an absolute treat. Umu Sangare is a personal favourite, amazing voice. Mercedes Payon. There's a long list. Fantastic. But fortunately it's a 4-day festival, so I'll get around.
Yeah, you might not get much sleep.
No.
But it'll be fun. Thank you very much, Ian, and all the
Pleasure.
best.
Thank
Cheers.
you.